it's going. Cool. So let's get awkward. Let's get weird. Let's get Alexis to start saying things that's ours importance. Alright, we're making a really terrible quality video right now, but that's okay. Using the laptop, using what we have, and I'm gonna try to edit this a little bit more than most of my videos because there's a lot going into this, and I'm definitely, for sure gonna F this one up a lot. So, the topic that I chose to talk about today is anxiety because a lot of people that I know deal with this. And when we look at the 5 elements and how they relate to anxiety, there's no right answer. Like for all of these questions, there's no right answer for anything. There's no right answer for anything in life. In Chinese medicine, everything's kind of interconnected on like crazy levels. So when someone comes to me and says, I'm dealing with anxiety, what does this relate to? What should I be looking to fix this? I can't just tell you what to look at because there's so many different things that cause anxiety nowadays. I can say that the element that is definitely presenting itself when people have anxiety is the fire element. So if you have too much fire, or too much of the fire element going on, element. If you have too much of the fire element going on, typically speaking, we're gonna see you kind of going more in the direction of anxiety. And if you don't have enough, then you go more towards the depression. I mean, this is not diagnostic. I am not diagnosing anything or anyone at all. This is just totally my interpretation of Chinese medicine and how I've found ways to relate it to my life and the lives of the people around me. The fire element is neat because it's like the degree to which another element will present itself. The essence of fire is basically like the ability to be here and to be present and to be in this moment. The flow state, if you've ever been in flow, if you have no idea what that is, I'll tell you right now, actually, because I'm capable of that. Flow state is basically when you find something, you get so wrapped up in what you're doing in a good way that you can lose track of time, and it's like the healthiest kind of focus possible. If you are able to be in that flow state or to be present, that shows that you have at least some adequate level of fire because you're comfortable being totally present in what's going on. Like you are just freaking there. The inability to be here in any given moment or to be present in any given moment shows that there is something either lacking or in high quantities in fire. So any imbalance in any element can trigger a response that presents itself in the form of the fire element. The reason why I say I can't identify why you have anxiety because I freaking can't. You have to be able to dig deep and say why. Like I said, fire is a representation of it's like the coming to fruition of everything else. If, for instance, your wood element is out of balance, which is related to anger, then maybe you're having such high levels of anger that you're constantly ruminating over something that you're angry about, and that's going to cause you to have symptoms that present themselves kind of like anxiety, and that's going to, again, be the element of wood being expressed through a lack thereof or too much fire. Second one would be if your metal element is a little bit out of balance and you're having issues with grief and letting go. So if there's something that you can't let go of and it's constantly going on in your head, that would be another expression of anxiety through the form of fire that's stemming from something else, which would be, in this case, again, metal. Third element, and I think this one is probably the root of a lot of more traditional anxiety, would be the water element, which deals with the kidneys and it deals with fear and the sense of powerlessness. And I think a lot of people, at least I know I personally have dealt with the level of power that you don't possess, that you think that you should. That can cause someone to be extremely anxiety ridden because you're constantly coming from a state of fear that you don't have what you need to do X, Y, or Z. And then the last one would be the earth element, which is another one that's I think a little bit more prevalent to anxiety as well, because the earth element is what deals with worrying and cyclical thinking. Again, that constant going back to the same thing over and over and over again, and it keeps coming back If that's what you feel your anxiety is driving from, then it's expressing itself through the way of fire, through constant obsessive thinking. And then if it's cyclical in nature, if it's not just like I'm worried about everything, if it's like I'm worried about this one damn thing and I can't not think about it, maybe something in your earth balance is off as well. The whole point of this is like the expression of anxiety is definitely a fire related, but I can't say that it's not related to something else as well. And that's kind of where you have to do the dirty work and you have to dig deep and say, okay, well, what's actually causing this? What's going on? Is it just something neurological? Is it something deeper? Is there something that I'm not addressing that I should be? Generally speaking, things that can help us to get out of an anxiety-ridden state, one of them would be finding a flow state or finding something fun. Try to prioritize having fun so that you are giving yourself that opportunity to allow your mind to start let going of some of the things that it's holding on to, so that you can move forward with your day and your life and not necessarily be obsessing over the same thing the entire day. Because at least that way, if you prioritize something that's fun, hopefully you can take, that small block of your day and kind of remove yourself from that anxiety-ridden state. And the more you're able to do that, the more you're able to rebalance those elements and hopefully get you out of that pattern. Again, I'm not here to diagnose anything. I'm not here to provide cures. I couldn't do that even if I wanted to. But I know in my own experience, finding things that I know are fun and forcing myself to do them has been extremely helpful for my own purposes. Another thing that I found really useful in dealing with states of anxiety is to take time to listen to something. Your mind is talking to you all the time, and if you're just sitting there listening to your mind as opposed to listening to something external, sometimes that can be what's really the problem. So for me, it's helped to actually maybe listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video or get some perspective from a friend or do something that causes me to get out of my own element. That way I can source a little bit of inspiration from externals. So a healthy balance of fire element usually would look like someone who is at peace with their life or what they're doing. Fire is related to the heart, it's closely tied to joy and love. So if you're really struggling with being happy or if you're struggling with sharing warmth with people, all of that jazz, that can also indicate deficiencies within the fire realm. Too much fire, too much passion can lead to a level of obsession, which again can present itself in the form of anxiety for a lot of people. And too little fire or too little passion can cause someone to feel maybe unmotivated or depressed. So it's all about striking the nice balance between the two. I think it's equally difficult, but for completely different reasons, to be on either side of the spectrum. And it's really important to try to figure out exactly, if you are veering in one way or the other, why that may be the case and what you can do to help, right? I hope that was somehow, in some way, useful for you all to listen to it. I hope you really enjoyed my Italian hand motions just now. I think I'm done for the day, so I will be logging off for now. Bye bye.